the day we are officially moving from quality control to quality management. 15 December 2022 is a big day for all of us in the practice. I believe many of us are actually have been working very hard for the past 1 year to do the implementation of risk assessment in our firm, right? Okay, so in today's topic, I will cover on the second phase, which is on the monitoring and remediation, and a little bit on the audit quality indicators. So basically, what happened is on the first phase, that on 15 December, we should have been completing the risk assessment, where we have completed the design and implementation of the quality management in the practice, and from now onwards up to the year end of your practice, your firm, you should be carrying out an evaluation, which is the monitoring and remediation. Okay, so on the aspect of monitoring and remediation, basically they are actually divided into 4 phases. The first one is the design and perform monitoring activities. Second one is evaluating finding and identify deficiencies. Okay, so you will learn how to design what kind of monitoring activities that you can implement in your firm. Some are actually mandatory by the standard. Then you will, if in the event there are some findings, how do you deal with the finding, and whether that finding actually a deficiency, and how should you deal? We will cover that a little bit in detail later. Then how do you respond to deficiencies? What you should do? What kind of action do you need to take to make sure that your system is still reliable and providing the information that is giving a good good assurance about the reliability of the system? And finally is the communication part. Is basically who are the users of the information from these activities, the monitoring and remediation. Who are the users, and what kind of data they use to make their evaluation. Okay, and the final part will be on the audit quality indicators. I will share a little bit on the some of the common indicators used in the practice. Okay, the first one is a whole. Okay, just a little bit a background of this entire standard. So on 15 December today, where we are, actually we are here, we're supposed to be completing the risk assessment process. Okay, basically risk assessment process, if you have started and you know that you actually establishing the quality objective, quality of risk, and also what are the response and controls that you put in place. So now we have to move from 15 December to the monitoring phase. Okay, so the monitoring phase is basically in completing this phase, you need to answer a few questions. First is, what is your firm year end? And what is your first assessment cycle? For example, your firm's year end is 30th September. Okay, 30th September. So the last one was 30th September 2022. So your first assessment should be on the 1st October 2022 up to the next financial year will be 30th September 2023. Okay, 1 full year. That will be your first evaluation of the system. Okay, your quality management system. Okay, so the question is, what to do if from the survey, okay, from the survey, they are, okay, let's say the first response is they have completed, all is done, then they are actually already on ISQM and they're meeting the requirement of SQM. Okay, so let's say in the case that you actually completed all the implementations on the first day of this financial year, 1st October. Okay, it was even before the actual effective date. That means you are fully on the ISQM. But what happens if there are some control that you are actually you completed your implementation has at 15 December. Okay, 15 December. So that means you the first 3 months of the year you will make an evaluation which is based on ISQC, which is the old previous standard, but the rest of the phase of the financial year, on the 9 months, you will review them on ISQM. Okay, but if there is a situation that you have actually not implemented complete your risk assessment processes. Okay, what happened is that definitely in that case you will have some findings. Okay, because you have not completed based on the requirement of the standard, but whether the finding is a deficiency, that is another assessment. Okay, you need to see what are the areas that you have not complete, that whether that finding is a deficiency or not. Okay, now let's look at what is monitoring and remediation process. Okay, as I said, this is something new. It was not under ISQC. This is totally a new framework under ISQM. In the past ISQC, you don't even need to do any evaluation. If there is a finding or deficiency, you the deficiency through review, through regulatory review or inspections, then you will rectify them, move forward. So in the past, it was very much reactive, but today it is actually a proactive and more robust remediation. Okay, so the purpose is, the first is to monitor the system of quality management that you have designed. Okay, because this system should be reliable and providing the right information, timely information about the design and operation of the system. And the second one is the more important, which is to take action to respond to identified deficiency. Okay, let's say you have any deficiency, it's supposed to be on a very much a proactive basis. It must be a continuous improvement, and the objective is to prevent them from reoccurring. Okay, so that is the big change. It is a proactive rather than reactive. Okay, so if you have completed your evaluation of your system, the entire remediation or monitoring and remediation process by end of the year, you actually will require to make an evaluation and conclusion about your system. So on the conclusion of your system, you actually can come into three conclusions. The first conclusion is the system provide reasonable assurance. Okay, the reasonable assurance that the system, the design and implementation are working as what it has been documented. There could be a situation where you actually, it provides reasonable assurance except for certain deficiency that you will address them. Or in the case that it actually does not provide reasonable assurance, it is a case where you actually substantially the system has not been meeting the requirement of the quality management system standard. Okay, so now next is in designing your monitoring and remediation process. There are actually 4 phases. Okay, the first phase is the design and perform monitoring activities. Okay, so we will go each of the phase. How to design your monitoring activities. It's all actually depends on the nature, timing, and extent of your firm. Okay, so when I say nature, timing, extent of firm, is very much referring to your size, your operation, how is your location, how many locations that you have, resources, and resources availability and other factors. Resources is a big challenge to all of us, whether it's a small firm or a large firm. I think every one of us today acknowledge that resources is a big issue. Okay, so the size, the firm, whether part of network, what are resources, we will go through later in the next slide, some example. But you can also get additional information how to design your monitoring activities based on what you have currently in your firm, what monitoring activities you have within, and how effective the monitoring activities in meeting the requirement of standard of quality management. There could be some monitoring activities that you have actually meet the requirement. So you need to map them and bring all together to see how they actually meet the objective of the standard. Next is you can also use some of the external informations, for example, complaints, external inspection, or even client survey in coming up with your system of your monitoring activities. Okay, so because all this in with the objective to improve the audit quality. So the system is just like how when you design the system, the monitoring activities are very much risk-based and scalable. Okay, it's scalable. So depend on your size, your operation, you're able to scalable and tailored to your firm's circumstances. So for example, if a firm is a large doing group audit PIE, likely to be more robust kind of system of monitoring activities compared to a firm which are doing less risky clients or doing very much small clients. Okay, one very big change is there must be someone who is assigned with the responsibility of operational of the system of quality management, monitoring and remediation activities. Okay, there must be someone in the firm. Okay, the person must be having certain knowledge. At the same time, the person must have certain authority because this person will likely to make some of the decisions about whether how to evaluate deficiencies, what are the recommendations and communications to the leaders of the firms and as well as and monitoring the entire system. Okay, for a small firm or where the firm actually having a resource issue, there could be a possibility using service provider. Okay, service provider, you can use service provider, but the ultimate responsibility of the perform and monitoring activities is still lies with the firm. It is not that you can actually outsource, but it's more like a concept like you engage an expert in the audit. So when we engage an expert in the audit, we still assess the expert capabilities, credential, and how relevant their works to our opinion, right? So the same thing, you take the full responsibility, but you can actually get someone to do to help on this part if there is a resource issue. Likelihood, because this is a design testing the design implementation, people with the background knowledge like an internal audit firm, some other firms, or someone who have knowledge about risk management would be likely the best person to fit in this role. So, for example, the size structure of the organization, how we can make different. For large operating firm, which with multiple location and more structured, formalized, they could have a more formalized system. They may have a dedicated team to monitor, and the monitoring could be more frequent, more regular basis in a year, and as well as the use of technology or electronic tool to perform the activity of monitoring and remediation. Okay. Next is if your firm is a part of network, what you need to consider is there could be some of it's called some baseline control. Okay, baseline control, which is network-based control. You could have been testing them on consistency because you are using a same methodology, and that will drive the consistency. And the resources part, like I mentioned. Smaller firm or where you don't have the right persons to do the monitoring activities, you can engage a service provider. Okay, but like I said, the firm still responsible on its monitoring activities. Okay, type of monitoring activities that you can have in your practice. Ideally, there should be a combination of these activities. First is ongoing monitoring activities. Okay, ongoing monitoring activities are those very kind of a routine built in the firm's process, and they can provide actually real-time data. Okay, and allow the firm to react to change the condition. Okay, that is actually the spirit of the standard, that it must be proactive and to prevent reoccurring. Okay, for example, monitoring of audit and non-audit fee ratio, which allow as and when the firm to design what safeguard to put in place. Next one is a periodic monitoring activities. Okay, periodic is at a certain interval. For example, you can have an inspection of a completed engagements. Okay, completed file, inspection of training records to determine that personnel have completed the required training. And the third one is other possible monitoring activity that you can have is like formal survey. Formal survey is a good way to understand how the people in the firm feel within the firm. It is really much reflect the culture of the firm. Then things like automated alerts. Automated alerts, you can have automated alerts and notification for, let's say, for timesheet submission, on independent declarations, where people have notifications, and the system can take care on this part. Okay, checking records of the attendance, for example, training records, whether people are clocking enough hours of required CPE hours. Okay, and inspect time record of hours recorded engagement, whether people are charging enough time at the planning, execution, and completion phase. So these are few recommendations in the standards that you can apply for the monitoring activities. Okay, the ideal is to have a combination of this activity. Next is, how can I test the design and implementation of my system, which is ready by the 15th December? What I can do? Okay, so what you can look is actually is because it's a design and implementation. Okay, just like our audit. Okay, design implementation is very much like how we test controls. Okay, so your design implementation, you have design controls in your system. Okay, so what you do is actually you're testing the controls. Okay, so just apply your firm methodology on the control testing. For in this example, the process that I've selected is acceptance and continuance. Okay, the firm year end is 30th September. The first formal evaluation is on the 1st October to 30th September. So the control that I am testing is the acceptance and continuance requests are approved by engagement partner. So how do I design the test? For example, during the financial year, there were 150 new client acceptance and continuance requests. So the frequency of the control was as and when. And the sample size could be, because it's testing the design implementation, it could be 25, 40, depending on your methodology. Type of control is a mandatory, it's a manual control, partners will approve it. Okay, so the control owner is the partner. So this is how you can design exactly how we do in the audit to design the testing of your control of your system. Okay, those testing the controls that you have designed in earlier phase. Okay, the general rule is test all the control in the first year. Okay, you must test all the control in the first year. And all controls must be subjected for testing in the first year. Exceptions to control that does not occur on the annual cycle or less. Okay. So, for example, one of the control is the appointment of a new partner joining the firm, or new partner from outside joining the firm. Such control such activity does not occur on an annual basis. If you have tested on the year one and it's working, and if it doesn't occur in the following years, so you don't require to test. So sort of kind of a rotation that you can do based on occurrence of the control. Okay, so in this case, engagement partner review all the client acceptance and content documentation and sign off before the commencement of engagement. The control tester shall obtain an understanding of the design of the control and whether the control are properly implemented as designed. So basically, whether you have an internal person who is responsible for this, or you have service provider, the person must have an understanding of the design of the control. Okay, a very important thing is the control should not be tested by the control owner. Okay, the control owner should not be testing the control. Okay, if there's a resources issue, okay, like I mentioned, you can use a service provider to help you on this one. Next is we look at inspection of completed engagement. Okay, this inspection of completed engagement currently under the ISQM is a mandatory. Okay, it's a mandatory that we all the practice must have processed to inspect all the completed engagement. Okay, so for this you must set up a policy how do you want to select files for inspection. Okay, you need to have a policy for this. Okay, I will share you here. Okay, for example, basis of selection. You can have a basis of selection. It could be every partner subject for inspection, annual routine inspection every 3 year. Okay, so you actually develop a cycle where every 2 to 3 years, a partner of the firm will be subject for inspection of his completed engagement. Okay, or you can also put other things like a recently joined as a partner of the firm. It's a new to the firm, so it could be subject for a selection. Next is if a partner who have been reviewed and they were past review by regulators or internal review and the review was unsatisfactory, and you want, because it is a risk-based approach, you want that partner to be subjected for the review. So that is a few bases that you can use to select who to be reviewed. Okay, and next is what kind of engagement you want to select, whether you are doing a listed engagements, group of entities, large or even risky client. You want to make sure that the firm, it is charging its duties appropriately. Okay, then the rating, you can set your own rating and follow your methodology. Okay, the good thing about having a completed engagement is it is because the engagement you will review throughout the phase of the engagement. Okay, the life cycle of one full engagement from the beginning until end, from the acceptance up to the date it's been archived. So you will test. You will test all the controls and you will be able to identify where are the quality risks that you originally have a design but it was not there, or you have been missing some of the quality risks. There could be an area where the engagement team may not have implement what are the policies of the firm. Okay, there could be area whether quality of engagement and the culture and attitude towards quality or not. Okay, so basically whether the file is done with the view to improve quality following the firm methodology or not. So you will be able to get a lot of insight from a full inspection review, whether the engagement partner, and very important is whether the engagement partner has fulfilled its overall responsibility for the direction and managing the audit. So this one is all whether you can see whether how the time have been charged, involvement of the partners and other team members in the audit. Okay, so these are the two examples how you can implement in your firm. So the first one is you need to make sure that you do the design and testing the design implementation of your system. And secondly, it's a mandatory to have a inspection or completed engagement within your firm. Okay, so once you have done your design of monitoring activities, next is to evaluate finding. What is finding and what is deficiencies? Okay, let's see some example how to differentiate what is finding and what is deficiency. For an example one, so as part of monitoring activities, okay, the firm observed there was 5 engagements were not archived on time. Okay, so these will consist of different partners and staff. It happened in the month of June where the IT technical issue happened, prevented the engagement team from archiving electronic files. The issue was rectified by end of June. Okay, what happened is that all these engagements were actually archived in early July, without any modification to the file. And the good thing is the physical files were sent to the filing department before the archival deadline. Okay, so there was a technical issue in the audit software where it doesn't allow the firm, the team to do the archival. Okay, so here definitely there was a finding, but it is actually not a deficiency because it is not what they call a deliberate thing. It was actually due to the system, but what happened is the team actually did not modify any of the working papers, and the physical file will send on the due date. Okay, by the due date, the physical file was sent. Okay, so let's look at the next example. As a part of the monitoring activities, the firm observed subsequent to archival 3 cases where the engagement file were requested were requests for access and modified. Okay, they were requests made for the file and they were modified. These were under the same engagement partner and no documentation of reason for the modification. At the same time, there was no approval process in the place by the firm risk management team before such access can be granted. So you can see here that there is definitely a finding, but it's also a deficiency because there was no approval process in the firm and there is no control who requests the file and actually allowed to do modification. Okay, so I hope you can differentiate what is finding and deficiency here. Okay, so the standard actually share a decision flow. Okay, a decision flow, how you can differentiate what is finding and what is deficiency. Okay, finding is literally is information. Okay, like what is information about the design and implementation of the operation. Okay, you can get this information from your monitoring activities, external inspection, and other relevant sources. The very important is to differentiate finding and deficiency. And when a deficiency finding become a deficiency, is it require a professional judgment. Okay, just like in the audit, we require professional judgment whether this is a serious matter or not. Okay, we apply professional judgment. So deficiency is definitely something very serious, and it could be in the meaning a certain quality objective was not set properly. It could be quality risk was not identified, or is a control or responses were not designed in the risk assessment process. Okay, so the deficiency, how to evaluate deficiency is basically you look at the severity and the pervasiveness of the deficiency. Okay, you can do this through through use of root cause analysis. Okay, the standard suggests to use the root cause analysis to identify what are the root cause to the deficiency so that it will prevent from reoccurrence. Okay, next, let's see an example. Okay, as to require firm to accumulate finding from the relevant source and be evaluating the finding. Firstly, what are the findings? Okay, and secondly, what source of information and information are relevant to evaluate finding and identify deficiency. So like I said, finding is merely an information about your design and implementation. You need to evaluate finding whether it is actually a deficiency or not. Not all finding will become deficiency. Okay, so it's all depend on the situation and how severe the finding is. Okay, finding can be evaluated individually and in combination to determine whether there is any deficiency or not. Okay, possible source of finding to evaluate whether deficiency exists in the firm's system of quality management would be, you can look at regulators review. Where are the areas that the regulators find that common areas the firm is failing? Okay, that will give indications that this is area of deficiency. Okay, because it's repeating. Secondly is ongoing and periodic monitoring activities. So you have some reviews in between in the firm and you found that they are repeating areas. Or there could be areas where there were restatement or prior adjustment. For example, the knowledge of the resources or the people in the firm on technical matters could be lack, or there could be no technical resources in the firm that resulted in restatement and prior adjustment. So that could be a deficiency. Or there could be external complaints, claim, or potential claims related to professional services, ethical issue, or any other regulatory matter that actually indicate there are deficiency in the firm system of quality management. Okay, so when there is a deficiency, we need to evaluate the deficiency. How we evaluate deficiency is look at how severe and pervasive the deficiency. The severe and pervasive is exactly like how we looked in the audit opinion sometimes, you know, is it severe and pervasive? So pervasive like something called adverse report disclaimer, where we say that it is so pervasive, affect the entire reliability of entire financial statement. So it could be not confined to one area, it could confine to more areas. Okay, so to do this, you need to have a root cause analysis. Okay, root cause analysis to identify what are the root causes to this deficiency. Is it a people who actually not following the procedures, or it could be a process which is not there in the firm, or it could be a system deficiency. So then you evaluate the effect of this deficiency, whether it could be individually or in aggregate on your system of quality management. Okay, root cause analysis. Root cause analysis, a little bit background. It is no one size fit for all the approach. So basically, it's also scalable to your firm. It should be tailored, and in normal circumstances, I will identify root cause could be because of process, people, system, or any other matters. It could be process is not there, that something is not designed that allow people to follow the process. It could be people, human error, human issue, lack of training, or the system, the configuration of system, or the bug or the system limitation that is the root cause. So this will give you indication what are the area that causes the deficiency. Okay, so once you have done the deficiency, you identified the deficiency, you need to respond how to address the deficiency. How to address the deficiency is basically what action needs to be taken by the firm to address the deficiency. First, you must have remediation actions which is timely to prevent them from reoccurring. Okay, like I say, the standard of quality management are very much proactive. It is not reactive. Once you find there's a deficiency, you must remediate them. Okay, after you have put a controls, okay, you have put a new controls. Let's say the earlier controls were designed in the risk assessment process was not effective. So then you design a new control. Then you stand back and look at yourself and evaluate whether this is really the effective control or not to address the deficiency. And if it is not, you need to take further action to address the deficiency. What about the design of the remedial action? The design, it must be responsive. Okay, responsive, basically it must be done as soon as possible, and the design must be addressing the root cause. Okay, you look at the root cause and what a root cause, and it must be correctly identified to the correct root cause. Okay, the more severe and pervasive the deficiency, more urgent is needed to implement. You don't need to wait until end of the year to implement control. You need to make sure that the controls are implemented as and when it's required. Okay, depend on the circumstances, may consider temporal remedial action. Okay, if the full remedial action takes time. Okay, for example, you have an audit software that have a bug or flaw on archival functionality. Okay, so audit software or tool, it may take time to rectify. So a temporal measure that the firm can take is to probably look at a hard copy archival form as a temporary measure to make sure that files are archived on time. Okay, so you can take about remedial action, a temporal remedial action, but you need to take appropriate action to address the deficiency. You cannot leave it and you say, oh, I will look at it at the end of the year. No, it must be responsive. So like I said, that this is to be tasked to be performed by individual assigned to operational responsibility for the system of quality management, monitoring and remediation part. Okay, so this person must have the knowledge. This person must have certain level of authority to decide what is deficiency. He will make some recommendations to the top leader, the managing partner, or the executive committee of the firm, about how to address issues. So it is a very important role. If the firm decide to outsource, but you need to make sure that they fully understand and take full responsibility of whatever action has been taken. Okay. let's look at some of what are deficiencies that could affect the firm level. Okay, for example, finding from monitoring activities. Audit report used by particular engagement ABC is not based on the latest template due to template maintained by the firm is out of date or old template. So what action that firm can design? Okay, technical department communicate to withdraw old template and new template should be rolled out immediately. Okay, firm consider whether the report that been issued or using old template should be withdrawn, should be reissued, dealt in another way, seek legal advice or communicate with those charged with governance. Okay, this is an example how a deficiency affect on the firm level and what the action that the firm need to take. Okay, likewise, audit regulators place importance on the audit report to be technically correct when they perform their review. Okay, so once we have addressed the deficiency, the final part is to communicate. Okay, communicate who are the users of this information and how they use this information. So the ongoing communication, who need the information from these monitoring activities of the firm? Of course, the first one is the leadership of the firm. Okay, the managing partner, the executive committee. They will use this to make sure to form their conclusion on the annual evaluation. Okay, the firm have to make a conclusion on the annual evaluation, and they will use this to form their basis. Next, the individual assigned in the activities of monitoring. They will use these informations to perform the function. Next is the engagement quality reviewer, EQR. Okay, EQR want to know what are the areas the firm have deficiencies, where he should put more attention. For example, there is a technical lack of technical expertise within the firm, and so that he can know that areas of judgment he need to look in more detail. And finally is the engagement partner. Okay, engagement partner would know, would like to know whether what are the areas the firm is lacking and where they need to improve, and how his team is performing based on the policies and procedures of the firm. Okay, so there will be a communication. It could be training as well as regular communication within the firm to ensure all these parties have the relevant information. Okay, next is our look at the audit quality indicators. Okay, AQI. AQI basically are quantitative and qualitative measures within the firm. Okay, that you can use AQI. AQI. The good thing of AQI is a view to improve the audit quality. Okay, you design AQI is to review to have improved audit quality, and some of the AQI could provide you a real-time information of your quality management. AQI is not same as KPI because AQI with the objective of to improve the quality management, quality in the audit, but KPI are purely performance driven and the result. Okay, the purpose of AQI. It can help to flesh out the past deficiency in the firm, allow the firm to take remedial action on timely basis. Okay, audit quality indicators. The good thing about AQI, if they are published in a form of, for example, transparency report. Okay, that can be a basis for audit committee to select auditors. As well as same time is enhanced dialogue between the audit committees by the auditors, because areas where audit committees have concern about fee, about difficulties in audit, then they could have highlight as well. Okay, AQI can be also used by the firm to appraise and remediate audit partners. But what more important is AQI is monitoring over time. You can't look at a particular period, but you need to compare them over period to make sense and to see how whether it contribute to the improvement in the audit quality. Okay. The good thing is about AQI, some can be monitored before the audit completion. Okay, let's say you have an AQI about what are the chargeability of the engagement partner, team members during the planning stage. So it will allow some in-flight positive intervention. Okay, positive intervention, the firm to highlight there are not proper timing, enough planning have been done by the audit team. AQI in general is not something mandatory, but you can classify them generally in three categories. The first one is engagement level AQI. You can have engagement level AQI, partners hours, fee ratios, percentage of time by stage in the audit, which are very confined to engagement. Next, you can have a management level AQI, which are KPI which are intended to internal to the firm. Okay, like a partner, what is a partner's portfolio? What experience of the partner, firm monitoring result, or the fee recovery ratios? Okay, so these are management level, and the final is firm level AQI. Okay, so firm level AQI is training records, headcount, technical function, regulatory review, staff turnover ratios, and staff survey. So these are categories of AQI that you can use. Okay, so here I will share a few examples of AQI and how they can help to improve the audit. The first one is engagement partner hours. Okay, so it could be either minimum hours over the total hours or percentage. What is a good thing about this thing is if the ratio, how the ratio can help is basically if the higher ratio may indicate the greater involvement of the partner or supervision may indicate higher audit quality. Okay, next is EQR hours. Okay, same thing is either how many hours or percentage of the total. So higher involvement EQR as a proportion of the audit hours implies that there are healthy involvement of EQR throughout the audit. Okay, so these two can be monitored. It should be that both of them should be improving. Okay, the ratio should be improving, but need to take care. Need to take note that it should be increasing at the same or because if let's say EQR is increasing higher than engagement partner or engagement partner is dropping, that means there's too much reliance on the EQR. So they need to be looked together and see they are moving in the correct trend. Okay, staff per partner ratio, average number of staff managed by the audit partner. Okay, higher ratio may means insufficient. If the ratio is higher, that means the partner doesn't really have time to supervise the staff in the audit. Okay, but it could be mean other thing as well, relative few partners in the firm, or that the firm is a better resource with the people, staff to support the partners. So that means the firm have a lot of staff to support the partners. Okay, so in a single period, it will not make any sense, but it need to be monitored throughout the period to make sense that whether it's an improvement or to the audit quality or not. Okay, next is the partner workload portfolio. Okay, total hours partners, whether a partner have enough time to dedicated time on audit. Okay, working higher hours, managing large number of the clients, higher risky. So this need to be monitored. Next is involvement of expert and specialists. Okay, you can look at the expert or specialist. Whether in areas that require judgment, are they expert and specialists been involved, and how many hours they have clocked in hours. Okay, other possible AQI is possible like training records. You can look at the compliance of training records. You can monitor in your firm. Let's say you set 40 to 60 hours, how people are clocking their hours. Okay, next is headcount in the quality management. Okay, let's say you have any dedicated person in the QC or not. So what is the ratio that you can look as a QC staff to the total headcount in the audit, and QC staff to the total audit partners or managers, or number of consultations that take place during the financial year. So this is actually a bit of on the competency and the professional competency and due care fundamental principle. Right. Okay. Monitoring activities in the firm. What kind of monitoring activities do you? How many monitoring activities? How many full years review you do in this year, and how you moving on the following years? How many in-flight reviews? Kind of a hot review or thematic review that you conduct in the firm. Fee proportion of the firm and the fee recovery. So this could be potential any independent issues, indicators. Okay, monitoring the firm fee over the total non-audit fee. Okay, you may also look at AOB also publish a document called AOB Conversation Audit Firm on AQI 18 August 2022 to refer to the AQI. Okay, Yep, the final thought is AQI, identify, what you need to do is to identify AQIs in your firm and how they can be the objective to improve in audit quality. Okay, there's no what is the right number, what is the right AQI. You need to identify them and see which are contributing to the audit quality. So which allow you to take action, direct intervention to address behavior, resources, and other emerging issues in the firm. Think about real-time data. Some of the AQS you can actually computerize. Some of the extraction, analyzing of the data can be used in the system. You can create some interactive dashboard using Microsoft PowerPoint, Power BI. Very important to communicate with stakeholder where possible, audit committee, and publish your reports. Consistent and very important, consistent reporting and embed AQI as part of your firm monitoring rather than them to be sitting on loan. Okay, so because this is your objective to improve the audit quality.